Welcome back to the Fabulous TexVegas podcast. I'm Jon, she's Chelsea, and we are just winging one. This is that typical, hey, let's sit down and talk about what we're going to do a show on, and we don't come up with something, so it's just like, hey, let's wing it.
John's great at winging it. I'm not so great at winging it.
So, by the way, we appreciate everybody who's checked out the page. I think we should plug social media.
Definitely.
On Twitter at TexVegasPod. You've got Facebook and Insta.
Yeah, that's
the
at
young people say.
TexVegas Podcast.
Make sure we get that young hipster lingo.
Like, share, subscribe.
Hit the bell for notifications.
Definitely.
Smash that like button. Don't just hit the like button. Smash it.
Smash it.
But our videos are doing fairly decent for a bunch of ragtags who just started a YouTube channel.
We're figuring it out.
To all of our friends and family that have watched it, appreciate it. Tell a friend who could tell another friend, and just pass it along.
We finished up the Aria.
Yes,
got
I hope
posted,
you hope you enjoyed. We will always be honest with you, and we sat down to do that one. It's like we both knew it was probably going to go a certain way. That was our experience. We want to make sure that if you decide to have an experience, you may love it. It wasn't my thing.
It's totally just our opinion, of course, but
now
it could be helpful to those who are out trying to determine where they want to stay. So I hope it was.
I hope it was informative, and I hope that if you had any questions, comment below, and we will respond.
Definitely.
Ask us any questions you want to ask. Do your research thoroughly, and I think that's where we can just pick up with this episode. Do your research thoroughly. I think when and let's just track back. So guy meets girl, get together, get engaged, and we're sitting down planning a honeymoon.
Right.
And
our choices were New York or Las Vegas, right? Those were our two choices. I don't think we really threw anything else out on the table there.
No, and with unknown income, we didn't know, we didn't think, obviously New York's not, very economical at all. So it came down to Las Vegas. And so we jumped on, and Expedia.com, they're not an advertiser. We're not, definitely, trust me, we're not advertising for them.
No.
And we booked what we thought was a good combo honeymoon vacation. But Vegas pro tip, don't book through third-party sites.
Yeah, you're not going to get the best deal. I mean, it might show that you are getting a great deal, but you're really not going to get the best deal.
And the best deals that they offer you are probably at places you're probably not going to want to stay. We did that with IP, Imperial Palace, or rest in peace, Imperial Palace.
Which is now the Link.
The Link. And then we did it with the Harris trip. We did Expedia. The third trip, we kind of got smart to the fact that we're not gaining anything. Like Expedia points weren't high to cash anything back in. So the third time, we actually reached out to Planet Hollywood separately. So we'd like to stay Planet Hollywood. And we booked that one ourselves.
Yeah.
For cost.
There's something to be said about picking up the phone and just having a conversation with them. I feel like, especially if you're a good talker, you're just one of those people who get really good discounts when you call and talk to people. Definitely is the better way to go. So
we did that. And then we come to this April trip. We're going to take this April, trip, literally
about our fourth trip there.
Yes, literally on Easter Sunday. We were going to leave church after Easter Sunday. Our bags were in the car. We left the church and we went straight for Bush Intercontinental Airport. Mm-hmm. We didn't even come back to the house. We fed the cats, gave mom and dad a key, said, "Hey, it's all there. Go ahead and check on them." And we were gone. And by the way, We had just moved into the house.
I was gonna say that was also the weekend we just moved into the house.
We had just moved into the house.
We literally unpacked
the kitchen,
and then we had an Easter event, and then we had church the next day, and then we left for Vegas. So we had only been in the house like 2 days, and then we were gone to Vegas for
we
5 days.
We unpacked the kitchen and the bedroom, and that was it.
That way, when we got back from Vegas, it would be that would be at least livable, so that we could get everything else done.
And when we sat down, we were nuts. But when we sat down to plan this trip, we had already gone 3 times, or this was
our 4th trip. Yeah.
So we said we've done it 3 times, and we've done it this way. But now we know Vegas a little bit.
And because to your point, before we kind of went on this rabbit trail, do your research, right? There are so many YouTube videos out there, just like kind of what we're doing. If you have a question about Vegas, it's out there. Somebody's talked about it. Somebody's recorded it. Somebody has shown already all of the information for you to get and gather. So definitely go out there and get that information. And we had done that. We had started to really find all these YouTube channels to follow, and so we got our information and figured out that maybe we wanted to check out some MLife resorts. To this point, we had just stayed at Caesars Properties,
right?
And I touched on the whole air conditioning thing we were experiencing there in our Aria podcast, but we really kind of wanted to explore the MLife properties.
Yeah, well, because we had on our trips, you walk from property to property. A lot of them are connected, and we went through some of the MLife properties, and we had fun at those properties. And the gaming, like we got Vegas pro tip: get a player's card. Whether you're going to play or not, get a player's card, because if you do play, you can earn stuff. And that's kind of the preface where I'm going here with that pro tip. This is what we call Caesars versus MGM, the players programs. You have 2 predominant casino groups in Las Vegas. 2 prominent, one sort of, and then you have some outliers. It's MGM, Caesars. You've got the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, and then you have like Wynn and Encore, which is Steve Wynn's little outfit.
Yeah, they have their own.
Tropicana, which is owned by somebody I don't even know.
It's Choice.
It's My Choice.
The Players Club is My Choice.
My Choice.
Yeah.
It's independently owned. The Derek Stevens properties are on Fremont Street. The Golden Nugget, Tillman Fertitta is the one-off. He's on Fremont Street. I mean, and then you have these little independent casinos.
Venetian, I don't know what theirs
They're
is.
Las Vegas Sands.
Oh, okay.
Which, by the way, I hear if you have an expendable $1 billion, you could probably own Venetian and Palazzo. Here they're up for sale.
Okay.
But we've stayed at Caesars properties. We played at Caesars properties. We used the Caesars players card.
Yeah, and like to your point, we didn't really feel like we were kind of getting anywhere between Expedia and between playing, and we were obviously figuring out that Vegas was something we were going to want to continually do and continue to go back to. So, we were starting to go, well, how can we make this benefit us? Because other people seem to figure out how to get comps, etc. So how can we figure that out? And I started doing a lot of research on like how they calculate your gaming, so that when we played, we could actually get somewhere with that.
Right.
We played with the correct theory or concept so that we could get comps out of it.
So, to top on all this, our best stay on a Caesars property was the IP, strictly for the tub.
The love tub.
The love tub.
I'll throw a picture of it. We have some honeymoon pictures of it, and we've talked a lot about that love tub, so I'll throw a picture up of it.
I mean, 2 normal-sized people could probably swim in it. If you're like super health nut skinny, you could probably fit like 15 of you in there.
Yeah,
it was that big.
Huge, and actually the picture doesn't really even do it justice.
It doesn't. And that digital camera we were using, that was so 2012. But anyway, we'll throw it up there. It's on, it's on the screen right there, so you can just take a look at that beauty that's been ripped out and probably cracked into a million pieces.
Totally been renovated now. They don't even
totally
have
gone.
them.
Yeah, they're totally gone. But every other stay we had at a Caesars property wasn't good. And I know we'll talk Planet Hollywood
and Harrah's at some point. We need to do that.
We'll climb back in the Wayback Machine and try to remember everything, pro and con about it. And I can already tell you the pro category is pretty low on things that I can remember about those. So we were talking about this April trip. We're like stressed to the max. We need to unwind. You might be feeling stressed yourself. And if you're thinking about a Vegas trip right now, I mean, jump on these offers if you're not afraid of being infected by some virus that will likely not kill you. Think about it. But that's just my disclaimer. So we were talking about it. We're highly stressed. We need a getaway. And we decided to take this, it was a 6-day trip.
Yeah. And I think we had some friends of ours that had gone just previous to us, and they had told us that they had split their stay.
Yes.
We up until that point had never even thought of that concept. And I was like, I want to split the stay. I want to stay in two places. That sounds like fun. How do you do that?
So we started out with the concept of splitting our stay, but as we talked about it, we were like, well, we've stayed at Caesars. We've stayed at Harrah's. We've stayed at IP, Quad, Link. Now we stayed at Planet Hollywood, and like, there's a couple of nice these MGM properties that we always go to and play at. Mm-hmm. They probably got some nicer accommodations. Not that they're the best in the world, but maybe we might find that we enjoy staying at their properties maybe better than Caesars. So if we're going to split our stay, why don't we go to what we considered probably two of the nicer properties? We decided that we would stay 2 nights at the Mirage, Sunday and Monday. And then friends of ours, Joe and Christine, were coming in on Tuesday to stay at Cosmo, where they have comps. And then we decided, well, when they come in, because we're all going to hook up, let's go to Bellagio.
Yeah. And I mean, I had fallen in love with the Bellagio fountains on our honeymoon. And so I had just dreamed of the day we could afford a fountain view room. And actually, I think I mentioned that on our honeymoon or even our anniversary trip. And you always said, well, we're never going to be able to afford that, honey. So keep dreaming.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, we didn't afford it then either. We charged it and had to work hard to pay that off. But still, Vegas was a thing for us. And I said, if we're going to do it, let's try to do it, in the right way. So we split our stay. And I'm not going to give you the dollar amount. I can tell you that there was a 1 and a comma when I checked out of the Bellagio.
Yeah.
But
now we have comps, and there's certain times of the year that we could go completely
so that's the thing.
Free.
Once we got back from that trip, and we'll talk about some of the funny stuff that happened on that trip. There was some funny stuff. Just because people we were hanging out with were just hilarious. And we just had a good time just hanging out and doing Vegas. But we came back. We came back home, and then that was April, and then right around August, I got an email one day, and it was the Mirage. We have an offer for you. You can come and stay 4 nights for free. Taxes and resort fees not included. But if you think about, on average, a night at the Mirage could cost anywhere from $80 to $160 a night, sometimes $230 depending upon whether there's a conference. Getting the room comped for a 4-night stay can save you, let's say if you stayed from a Tuesday to a Friday, you're probably saving $500.
Oh, easy. But yeah, so
if they do it, under the pretense that you're probably going to gamble that $500.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we also had got our MLife Players Club all set up. And I think when you book your room, you always want to make sure that you also present your player's card so that that goes onto your account, because the money that you upfront for your room is also considered money spent at the casino. And the player's card is the way that they track all the money spent, all that you do, every time you go to Starbucks, every time you go to the essential store, every time you go somewhere. If you love the pool and you're always out at the pool when you go on your trips and you use your player's card, they track your movement. And that's kind of how they determine what to give you as comps. You know, if they know that you love the pool and you love a coffee every morning, they're going to try to attract you with that comp offer. And the only way they know that is your player's card.
Right. Now, here's the thing. We at Caesars, you can do that. I don't think they don't give you as much credit for the room stay on your card as MLife gave us. Now, we spent probably close to $1,100 on a room when we went on that trip.
Just at the Bellagio. That didn't include the Mirage.
No, Bellagio was around 8 or 9.
Oh, okay, so it was together.
And then the Mirage was a little bit cheaper because we came in on a Sunday and a Monday. Here, Vegas pro tip. Your cheapest days to stay in Las Vegas are Sunday through Thursday.
That's a daily double Vegas pro tip for the podcast.
I think that was like the third. This is going to be chock full of information. If you want to do Vegas without a ton of people, not the large crowds, and you want to stay cheaper, then Sunday through Thursday are your nights where the rooms are very inexpensive at most properties.
And I will say that when you do start getting comp offers, that's likely what you're going to get, unless you just take a lot of money and spend a lot of money.
Now, if you're new to the Players Club program and they're just offering you your first comps, they're not gonna massage it for you. Here's the thing: we've gone 10 times in, let's see, it's 8 years. We've been married for 8 years. We've gone 10 times, or this will be our 10th trip. When we know how to talk to them, they know we've been there for 8 years, or we've been coming. So I can get on the phone with a rep, and I could say, look, like we did with the Aria. When we decided to stay at the Aria, we told the story about getting the Saturday night comped versus paying during the week. We talked them into that deal. So we started out with, okay, we're going to comp you, but you have to pay your taxes and resort fees. I'm like, okay, well, if you comp Saturday and give me one of these nights during the week that's cheaper, I don't mind paying taxes and resort fees, because if you can do that for me, then I'll book it and I'll pay it. If not, I'll go down to the Luxor and pay nothing. And I had no problem doing that.
And I will say that, too, it depends on the rep you get, because we have called before and we have gotten, reps that are just go above and beyond on customer service. And then we've called before and gotten reps that they were like, well, sorry, that's all we have, and you just kind of hang up because you don't get anywhere.
When we edit this video, you're going to have to put up an image of my face with a bubble that says pro tip, because guess what I'm about to do?
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
I guess that will be the theme of this podcast. Pro tip podcast.
If you call an MLife rep and you don't feel like it went your way, or you just decided, okay, well, thank you for checking, and hang up, call right back. You will get a different rep. You might get somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't just... There's an old wise saying from one of our old pastors who said, don't take no from somebody who can't tell you yes. Yeah. So, call back.
It's worth it. It's worth trying to talk, or even the next day, or, and again, we're not saying that you can just talk them into free things. It is all measured according to gameplay and money spent. But you don't have to be a high roller to accomplish comps. You do have to spend some money up front, but if you decide that Vegas is something that a reoccurring trip that you want to do and you want to be able to use the comp offers, you can do it. And you can do it. There is a strategy to it. And it is worth it. But remember, you will have to spend some money up front. If you've never been to Vegas before, or you've been to Vegas a few times but you're not getting anywhere, try a different players club. Try splitting your stay between 2 different hotels, and pay for some of that up front, and you will be surprised how quickly it turns around. And I mean, now we are getting offers to go on weekends. We get offers to go at different times of the year. We can even stay at the Bellagio for free. Now, it's not a fountain view room. But it is a room a resort room.
You might need to do the $20 trick to get that fountain view room.
But so we're not sitting here saying that we take tons of money to Vegas. We're not sitting here saying that we get the best offers, but we get offers enough to where we can go now, and we don't have to worry about spending money on the room. We can take the money for the trip and spend it there.
But we figured out the secret, and the secret is a couple of things. With MLife, we've developed their players club has been very accommodating because they count your hotel stay. They count any money you spend at their properties in different places. They count your gaming on the slot machines. They count and rate you when you're at a table game. It all adds up. And not only do you get the offers, we have, like right now, we have $10 comp that we didn't use in October of last year, off of gameplay. Points that added up, we have it express comps. The minute we get to Las Vegas in December and we go to an MLife property, I can go buy a drink somewhere on the property or you use it anywhere they accept express comps.
Well, and you also get comps while you're there. So if you do book your room, and you're going to pay out of pocket for that, and you go play, you definitely want to make sure you go to the player's desk before you leave, the night before you check out.
You forgot to say pro tip.
Vegas pro tip. And you want to make sure that you ask them to have a host evaluate your gameplay. And depending on how much you've spent, I think depends on whether the lady at the desk helps you or you get like a special casino host.
Yeah.
But they will look at your card and they will evaluate. And if you do have express comps and things like that on your card that you have not used on any kind of food or anywhere else in the casino during your stay, they will translate that into money off of your room. So you can actually get a comp then on your room based off your gameplay of your trip if you haven't used it on anything else.
Right. And Vegas pro tip.
Vegas pro tip.
If you're playing on a table and you're winning and you're up, walk away before you go back down.
Yes.
Why? Because they're rating you based on time at the table versus money in versus money out. You'll notice that when you walk up to a table, you give them your money and your players club card. You will set it down. They will take your card, turn around to the pit boss, and yell out,
Players
100.
card.
And they'll take your player's card and they're going to go in the computer and they're going to punch, okay, he's in for $100. You play. And you'll either lose 100 or in some cases, one trip at the Luxor, I was playing free bet blackjack and I took $100 and made it into about $300. And I said, okay, I'm cashing out. Gino, I'm cashing out. Takes the chips, yells to the pit boss, 300 out. Pit boss goes to the computer, puts in 300 out.
And it also depends on how long you've been at the table too. They also track what your minimum bet was and also how long you were at the table. So you always also want to try to do a little bit more than the minimum. We play minimum bets a lot, but if you do go to the table and the minimum bet is 10 and you're betting a 25 or even 15, they evaluate that it kind of shows them that you're a gutsy player versus just somebody walking up and playing the minimum bet.
So, I say all that to say this. It helps if you walk away up, and if you spend some time at that table and you walk away in the positive, here's the thing. The casinos don't make money on giving you money. The casinos make money on you losing money, right?
Well, and just coming there.
Well, and coming there.
Because you're going to eat while you're there. You're going to shop while you're there.
Exactly.
More than likely, you're going to sit down and be tempted by a slot machine at some point. You're going to spend money regardless in Vegas, which helps the economy in general. So,
but my whole point is they can take a loss on hospitality if they're going to win it back on the tables.
Exactly.
And that is their chief source of revenue. So when you play, walk away when you're up. Slot machines, same difference. Walk away when you're up because they're tracking you by your player's card.
Well, and they also will call, like, if they know that you took money home. I think one of our trips we took like $1,500. We had one up $1,500, so we took like basically winnings.
I think
home.
So we came into Vegas with about $2,500, and it was a 4-night 5-day. We left late in the evening, and we stayed at the Mirage. And on that trip, that was the roulette.
The roulette wheel.
Where we'll tell that story in a later pod if we haven't already. Told
I think we told it.
We
it's
told
in one
it.
of the past ones. So go back.
Recall memory. I think that was Vegas Campfire 1 or 2.
Just listen to them all.
Or listen to them all.
Like, share, subscribe.
Smash the like button. Hit the bell for notifications. And as always, thank you for watching. And we came in about $2,500, and we won over the $1,500 together combined on the roulette, and we walked away. We came home like $1,500 net positive. After we spent a little bit, I think it was more like a $1,300 net positive.
To the casino, we were up on our gameplay.
Very much, like a large amount. When wheels hit the ground in Houston, we came home, we unpacked, we went to bed. The next morning, on my email, there was an offer. 4-night free comp.
Yeah.
Like, I just came back from Vegas, and they were ready for me to come back because we left in a net positive. Yeah. To this day, we've dwindled down the net positive, but to this day, from the tracking in 2013 till now, I'm up.
Yeah,
combined, we're up against MLife.
We don't track that personally.
And I think it's tracked
on your player's card.
It's tracked because it doesn't benefit us to take it as a tax deduction because you can only deduct losses up to the amount of your winnings, and I don't ever let the IRS know how much I won because it's none of their business. Obviously it's not over an amount that you need to pay taxes on because we've cashed out at the casino and they've never made us fill out a form. But it's just easier not to track that because it doesn't really help you anyway. At least us on our taxes. But I'm up. I think both of us, because we have our cards linked. We're up around $500 or $600 now because that Aria trip we took a chunk of money and left a chunk of money there at the Aria. We won't ever do that again. Because I like to if I'm losing money, I like to have fun, but I was losing money and not having fun, so we won't make that mistake again. They got us, and sometimes they win, sometimes you don't. You have to be prepared that if you're going to make the investment to do it right, A, you're going to have to spend money up front, and B, you're going to have to play money while you're there. And we've kind of figured that balance out. Chelsea is the slots. She will sit down on the slot machine. I think we always average a net loss of about $300 in the first 2 days of slot play. But
wow, just call me out like that.
Inevitably, she'll go to the goldfish machine.
I won over $600
yeah,
on that
start
machine.
playing on it, and then she's like, I don't know what happened, but I cashed out at $648.
No, so what was great about that, just brief story time here. What was great about that was there was a craps table right across from it, and y'all had sat down, or y'all had stood up, because you don't sit down at the craps table. Y'all had stood up over there, and y'all were going to play, and I didn't really want to play, and there wasn't really anywhere for me to stand and watch because the table was packed. So I just decided to sit down right there at that goldfish machine. And I think I put in $100. I think it was 100, might have been 40 or something. And I was just going to play on it for a little bit. So I wasn't like betting really huge bets, on there. And next thing I know, the reels are spinning and I'm up to $650. I'm pretty sure it was $649.
And I'm oblivious because we're playing craps. And I mean, I don't think it was one of our winning sessions either. I think I cashed out with right around $25 left, and I was like, that's enough pain and misery for a while. And then I came over and I said, well, how's your luck been? And she's like, I don't know what was going on, but this is what this is what I cashed out at. She shows me the ticket, and I'm like, well, son of a gun.
Yep.
I said, you just made up for my craps table loss and then some. Let's go get a drink.
Like, you're welcome.
But we tell these stories because we want to help you have a great Vegas experience. And so this isn't a paid advertisement for the MGM Resorts, MLife properties.
No, it's just been our experience.
Technically
I will say this last time.
It is a paid because they technically comp us, but we've earned it. It's not a paid advertisement.
Oh.
But if
what are you talking about?
If you're going to give one of the players clubs a shot, I would start there because I think you get the more bang for your buck.
Yes, but I will say that we have started kind of exploring the Caesars again and starting to play there a little bit more because we've been doing more research about how Caesars might match your MLife offer and vice versa.
Yeah, we're not doing that this trip. This trip is all about the Luxor and the Cosmo, and we're trying to try to get a foothold into the Cosmo on this trip because we're staying 2 nights in a sweet, sweet room with a balcony that looks out. We're at the fountains.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. We've wanted to stay in a room like that since that April trip that we started this whole podcast talking about. We have wanted to stay in a Cosmo balcony. So I'm super pumped about this trip. And we could only really afford a couple days to start there. But I think, here again, we're paying out front for our room. And we didn't really get that much of a discount on it. But we will play at the Cosmo. We will upfront the cost of the room. And we're hoping that will return at least some comp night offers, which I actually did get one comp night offer on your second stay. So you have to stay, you have to pay, and then you get a comped night on your next stay. I did get that email the other day. So I do think that it will pay off when you add your gameplay to the money we're fronting for the room.
Exactly. And so that's what this trip is about. Stay tuned to some upcoming podcasts because we're going to preview our December trip and talk about what we're looking forward to, things that we've missed, and just kind of celebrate the fact that we're going to get to go and enjoy Las Vegas at some point in 2020 because who knows what in the hell is going to happen in this world at any given time with all of the events going on. So it's
at least in this year anyway.
Yeah, this year has been a doozy for sure. But I will all that to say this. If you are a Vegas novice and you're looking for properties and you want to stay somewhere, I recommend the MGM Resort properties. And I think you'll get more bang for your buck. I think you'll probably have a good time more, enjoy things more. There's many properties to choose from. I can just name them off. In my head, you start with the MGM Grand, which we'll never touch. We are not MGM Grand fans at all. No. There's the New York. There's the Luxor. There's the Mandalay Bay. There's the Excalibur that we will not likely ever stay at. There's
we
Mirage.
Almost did one time.
We almost did. There's Mirage, Bellagio. Am I missing one? I don't think I am.
Did you get the Aria?
Aria and Fedara. But Fedara really doesn't count because it's just a spa and there's no casino. But it's part of the MLife deal.
And just to clarify on the MGM, we have actually never stayed there. We just had a really bad experience there when we first went to Vegas on our honeymoon. We were very exhausted. We had walked, I don't know, thousands and thousands of steps.
That old song.
And we got lost in the MGM and we could not find our way out of there because they do that on purpose. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that old song, I would walk 500 miles.
I would walk 500
Well, we walked about 50,000 miles.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was so bad. And we could not get out of there because the hotel is in an X shape. And the very center of the hotel, they have a Starbucks on each corner adjacent from one another. And I was using the Starbucks as my point to try to figure out how to get out. And I kept running into the different Starbucks thinking I was at the same one. And yeah, anyway, it was just a mess. And so after that, I swore off that I'd never go through there again. Now, we have gone through MGM since. It is not that confusing. I think we were just tired that day. But we have decided that we pretty much won't stay there because it is just massive. It is a huge resort, and you do so much walking in Vegas already that I kind of like staying in the more, I guess, better laid out resorts where you don't have to walk so
500 miles.
to your room. Because, I mean, when you're tired and you're coming back into the resort, you just want to get to the guest elevator so you can get to your room.
Right. So that's our non-paid endorsement of MGM versus Caesar Properties.
All the Vegas pro tips that we
Look
threw in
at
there.
what happens when we wing it.
It went pretty good, actually.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
But having said that, we're out of time for this edition of the Fabulous TexVegas podcast. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. We will monitor and answer questions.
Yeah, like a Q&A podcast might be fun at some point.
We could do, yeah. Any questions you have, we'll take them down and do a Q&A. We may try to do that in Vegas if anybody sends us some questions. We'll do one of our live from Las Vegas segments. When we go live, we'll do a Q&A. And we'll talk about things that are going on. And that's going to be from December 6th through the 12th. We're going to nail down a time. And when we do, we will advertise the hell out of it because we want to get as many listeners and followers and watchers as we can. I say listeners. I've been in the radio business too long. This is a video. YouTube's video podcast. Watchers, viewers. We want viewers. So we'll let you know when we plan to do that. And when we'll give you like West Coast time, we'll juxtapose. So we'll tell you what time it is Central versus what's on the West Coast. So tune in for that. Tune in for the next edition of the Fabulous TexVegas podcast. And anytime you want to listen to the Fabulous TexVegas podcast, just go to our YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And at the end of this video, you're going to see a really cool outro with all of our social media. You can just follow us on all of those. That would be awesome. Go follow us on the Insta. Go follow us on Facebook, Twitter. And don't forget to just have a good time. Take a deep breath. Everything's going to be all right in the